In 1970, English jam rock psych band Titus Groan released their self-titled album On Dawn, and from it the track Liverpool. Okay, appreciate that rippling organ amid that rapid-fire bass line. Bass work by John Lee and organ by Stuart Cowell, who also did time in Paul Brett's Sage and the band Sweet Pain, or the jam session. And it looks like two of our guys are from the pop psych band John. Okay, Stuart Cowell, I guess we heard him the other day on, I probably mentioned his name already, on the two cut, well, one of them anyway, from Modern Times by Al Stewart. For those of you in North America who got to see the video, I know that it was blocked internationally, yeah, but yeah, I covered Sirens of Titan and Next Time from that, and I believe he's heard, let's see, he plays electric, he's one of two electric guitars credited on the album. Oh, he was probably giving us the kind of rhythmic elements underneath Tim Renwick, and he's also credited with Dobro on that album, yeah. Okay, this is really driven along by the rhythm section, obviously, but I love how that organ cuts in, and the chanting's pretty tight, too. Quite a hook right there, and I like. I'm curious as to what the lyrics might be about. Don't think they're playing anywhere, but I like how we went through that sequence of like far chords and flats and sharps. Well, most of the track though is based in D. Okay, I stand a little bit corrected perhaps on Modern Times by Al Stewart. I think Stuart Cowell was every bit the capable guitarist as Tim Renwick. Giving him a run, probably giving him a run for his money for that matter. He's handling, Cowell is handling this solo right here in addition to the organ work. Yeah. I like how that melody works its way back in there. That no, 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 the main theme of the track. We got so many points of interest going on. It's like we got four layers right here. We got the we got the persistent kind of like throbbing procession of the rhythm section. We got the chant. We got that theme on the organ. And we've also got those kind of trippy background vocals, sounding like a female or someone kind of going at like, I don't know, a third of the speed of the guys. Okay, it's probably a guy actually. That trippy kind of hippie feel. Okay, and the brisk drumming you're hearing is played by someone who would show up later in the decade in the Tourists. I'm talking about Jim Toomey, and he too was in this 3-single pop psych band from the late '60s called John, Jon. Yeah. Okay, now we're hearing a variation of the theme by Tony Priestland on reeds. Okay, that drumming really bombarding the proceedings. Yeah, do you hear that slight? Like, no, 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 no. Wow, that throbbing, crackling bass line coming in there and really adding some newfound punctuality right toward the end as they ride that monochordal jam groove out. And I believe Tony Priestland was doubling up on the organ riff, although it was kind of faint in the mix, on oboe. Yeah, and so this album has connections to Al Stewart and to Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics, you know, who rose to prominence first in the Tourists with Titus Groan drummer Jim Toomey. Let's see. This band is named after a 1946 novel by Mervyn Peake. And it seems as though some of the lyrics on this album, anyway, are inspired by the novel. for the record, that track we just heard is not actually from the original album proper. It's from a single that came out at the same time and has been since added to like CD reissues of the album. As a matter of fact, it's placed like the third track in. It's not like the traditional bonus track thing where they put them at the end after the sequence of the album. No, they because they knew that that was one of their best songs, and they wanted people to hear it. They didn't want people giving up after like the big epic Hall of Bright Carvings, which I've seen comments to the effect of, oh, that's the reason to hear the album. There's a great track, but there's more to hear on the album as that. Just as, like, well, the track we just heard and this next track, which closes the album proper, Fuschia. Okay, and I believe that this is named after a character in the novel, Fuschia Groan. And she's also the subject of The Drowning Man by The Cure. Some rather trippy psychedelic vocals, kind of recalling the likes of I Feel Free on the chorus, like that future is here, that kind of airy, like late 60s voice you would hear a lot around that time, and over like a rather freak beat type of arrangement, with that kind of fuzzy, thick riffage and such. She can't explain what love searches for. Well, I like that bridge right there. This is kind of like a mid-ground between, say, something that a band like Bulldog Breed or Elmer Gantry's Velvet Opera could have done, like circa 1968, 1969, with some other elements. Well, that flute we just heard invites a very obvious comparison, almost kind of like halfway between the two style, like.
Strong, not very long before she knows it's there. The careful of face, gone without traces of burning stare. She is here, and so is love. Not alone clear, she can't explain what love searches for.
Something about that, the verse vocal melody reminds me just a little bit of Days in December by Czar, which came out the same year. A Day in September. slightly twangy tone of the lead picking up. A bit of a discordance right there. I heard like some kind of notes colliding, sort of.
She just needs is a friend to talk about the world and to tell them what it is to search for love.
All that she needs is a friend. And according to Wiki, let's see, Fuschia is the first child of the Earl of Groan and his countess, but the earldom of Groan and the family seat, Gormagos, can only be inherited by a son. Consequently, Fuschia has been largely ignored by both parents, and she spends most of her time with Nanny Slag. While Fuschia cares for Nanny Slag deeply, she also delights in tormenting the old woman with childish antics and pranks. When Fuschia is about 15, an heir apparent is finally born. Like many firstborns, Fuschia is angry that her parents are having another baby and determines to hate her brother or sister. After his naming ceremony, Fuschia expresses delight that Titus was dropped on his head. Over time, however, the two grow very close. When Titus is 12, he is imprisoned by his mother and his schoolmaster for repeatedly questioning and disobedience, and Fuschia is the only one to visit or talk to him.
All she just needs is a friend to talk about the world and to tell them what it is to search for
Okay, I guess I wouldn't compare that flute to the obvious. No, it's much more subtle. Yeah. Yeah, some diminished chord in that one passage where there's like the vocals drop a bit, like somewhere in there. There's this note playing against it. I swear I'm hearing a tritone in there. Sound like it was recorded at like a different session, maybe like a year earlier. It just kind of has slightly more of that I don't know, that 1968 feel in places, and in the sound quality and such. Okay, that was Titus Groan with Fuschia, and before that, Liverpool. Yeah, Fuschia, the closing track on their 1970 album. Liverpool, a track that appeared on their concurrent EP, Open the Door Homer, all the contents of which have been combined onto the CD reissues of the album. And this has an interesting cover that I imagine is somewhat inspired by the novel. Well, it's got basically like a turkey character, a fowl, wearing an outfit with a, I guess just a head, a severed human head in its arm, and oh, like a cod piece that also is a head, and that has a face on it, and playing kind of like a multi-reed instrument. Yeah, and I noticed that, like, even though this isn't really a brass rock album per se, you could say it's, if the reed was a bit more prominent, I would call it like reed rock or something. But a lot of the brass rock acts of the period were really obsessed with fowl, you know, like geese and turkeys and chickens and whatnot. Yeah. Anyway, Titus Groan, one of many talented acts to emerge on the English music scene circa 1970. A few people with backgrounds, but not many of them heard again, except, well, a couple of guys just each resurfaced briefly. Stuart Cowell actually looks to have had a reasonable studio career up through the mid 70s anyway. And but other than that, yeah, one of many bands to have just done one album, or in this case, an album and a single right around the same time. And yeah, it just goes to show just how thriving the UK music scene was circa 1970, with bands popping up everywhere, and some of them just not able to quite etch out their own space in that scene within the time, but only to be discovered in the 21st century. For more rubies and sapphires from Titus Groan, see the directory of albums by English T artists linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard. The interplay, the composition, the intensity, the passages, the lyrics. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled Tremax most, signing off.